Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
Hi Kim, it's Grandma Gail.
So we are still currently living together in Palm Beach, Florida.
Commenting on dating practices of Kimmy and her friends.
Dating practices sounds so serious. It's supposed to be fun.
I don't know. It's become a lifetime obsession between the two of us.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of psychoanalysis into every single dating decision we've ever made in our lives, and takes a lot out of us, doesn't it?
Well, we have to now just relax. We're having fun.
I know. And it's funny because a lot of my friends are starting to come to me asking for dating advice. I mean, they kind of did before because I'm the best and I give the best advice and everything. No, I'm kidding. But a lot of them are coming to me now because they're like, you are getting advice from your grandma. You're getting a lot of questions every week from your listeners. And I got one from a friend this week. She was asking me advice on something, and I asked her if I could talk about it on the podcast because I feel like this is a very common thing and it's hard to navigate.
Well, let's hear it. What's the question? Okay,
so basically she's been seeing somebody pretty seriously and she wanted me to follow the guy's ex-girlfriend on Instagram because she had a feeling that like something was up with him, like that he was maybe lying about where he was going. He kept saying that like he picked up fencing as a random activity. He kept saying he was with his friends and they were seeing a lot less of each other. So she was just being suspicious.
First thing is, are they still having sex?
Great question. Do you think that's the first thing, like whether someone's cheating? Like, because if they're not getting it from you, they're getting it from somewhere else.
Well, and if they don't want it from you, then they're getting it from somebody else. So that's for sure. And especially if they're dating seriously. This isn't just a casual date at this point. This was somebody who was seeing somebody for quite a while.
Right.
So,
like, especially because this is still like the first year of their relationship, like they should be having a lot of sex. It shouldn't be like, she shouldn't be wondering.
No, if she's wondering, there's trouble. Where there's
smoke, there's fire.
That's it. You got it.
I'm starting to say all your like little.
we're
living together.
Each other's lines.
Exactly. Okay. So anyway, I have a few fake accounts to follow people, and I followed this guy's ex-girlfriend. He said that he couldn't hang out with her. This was like a Thursday night. I was like, okay, that's weird. I follow this girl now. She posts a picture in an apartment on her story. I screenshotted it and sent it to my friend, and it was his apartment.
This is bad.
I know. This is the thing. Like, whenever people are like, "Oh, girls are so suspicious," like, no, we have women's intuition, and sometimes we're right. As soon as we found out about this, I was like, we need to hear it from an actual reputable source of somebody who does background checks, who deals with this kind of thing all of the time, and talk to a private investigator, do this Excuse My Grandma style. You can interrogate him about things as you do with me. And he can talk to us about really the best ways and his tips and tricks on how to catch a cheater. So we are joined by former NYPD detective and private investigator Bo Dietl. He has his own podcast, One Tough Podcast with Bo Dietl. He ran for mayor of New York City in 2017. And he's also a media personality and actor. People may know him from Wolf of Wall Street. Bo, thank you so much for joining us on Excuse My Grandma.
Hi.
What are you excusing your grandma for?
Well, you haven't heard our other
I love
podcasts.
your grandma.
I know, but you'll see as we get into this, she has her opinions, and I highly suggest you voice all of yours and she'll voice all of hers, and everything will go smoothly.
All I know is, wait a second. The Irishman was my big starring part with De Niro and Pacino. I was their boss.
Very true.
I've been in about 40 movies and TV shows. Come on.
I won't leave it out of the bio. We'll get that one in. I'll edit it in. So yes, this is my grandma, Gail. Grandma, why don't you explain a little bit about what we do on the show?
Okay, well, we do a generational dating podcast where Kim talks about her dating or her friends dating, and I criticize all of them because they're certainly all messed up at this point in 2021. And we wanted to get your opinion on some of the dating issues that we have today with COVID and with just the way the kids go about meeting each other.
First, let's back up a little bit. We have The Irishman, we have Wolf of Wall Street. You're in this world of Hollywood. You played yourself in Wolf of Wall Street. In real life, you really were hired by Jordan Belfort to do private detective work. Tell us about that experience, because I know my friends are obsessed with that whole saga, and also your experience on the film.
Well, it was pretty much true. But Jordan Belfort was no Robin Hood. He was a very bad guy. He robbed a lot of money from old Jewish people in the North Shore. He probably killed a lot of people because he took their life savings, and he was a piece of garbage. And when we did the movie, well, first I was called by Dick Rosso. He used to be the head of the New York Stock Exchange. He said, Bo, this guy, Jordan Belfort, Stratton Oakmont, he's got problems with some wise guys there. So I went over there and I went over to help him out, and I took care of him and I helped him. But in reality, I didn't realize what he was really doing with this pump and dump stuff. And when we did the movie, he got very mad at me because I did an interview at the Wall Street Journal. I said, now this guy thinks he's Robin Hood. He's got the greatest actor, my friend Leonardo DiCaprio, playing him. And then you have Martin Scorsese, the greatest director. He really believed him. He really, if I might say, he believed his own bullshit.
Right.
And
right.
to me, he was a creep. He robbed over $200 million, paid back about 11, 12 million, and he never paid the rest back. He's a piece of garbage. I'm not happy with him.
You played opposite Leo, obviously, in that scene in Rayo's. We've actually had dinner together with Leo at Rayo's before. It was a great night. I mean, I wish I could have been set up
Leo
with him.
To you. It's Leo to you now, huh?
I know. Should I say Mr. DiCaprio?
I think you better, Kimberly.
But so many people are curious also about his dating life, like dating younger women, just dating in Hollywood in general. What do you make of his dating life, and also just the way actors kind of do date in Hollywood?
Well, I think with the advent of social media, everything has changed.
Right.
Years ago, we had a lot of actors there that were dating young girls, but you didn't see it in your face the way you see it now with this social media garbage. And when you see young people like you and my kids got their nose bent into that stupid iPhone, their whole world is there. And half the stuff you're looking at or reading is not real anyway. They could put anything they want. And I think this younger actresses and younger girls going out with these actors have been going on forever. Now it's just more magnified with the advent of social media.
That's true. And more people can be judgmental about it too, and comment things that probably aren't the nicest things. You said something interesting, like the things that you put online, they don't always have to be true. That's something we were going to get to, Grandma.
But I think we should discuss it now. How can you rely on the dating apps to be really honest? Let's say like Kimberly goes on and that somebody tells you they graduated from Harvard and then they went to work on Wall Street. Can you really believe these bios? I mean, how can you do a check on these people without really meeting them in person and really knowing somebody who knows them?
Well, you can spend a couple of bucks and hire a real private investigator, and we could do that. We do that now. I'm trying to put together as we speak now. I was out in Seattle, Washington with these technology guys,
right?
And they said, "Oh, we love I own investigations.com. That domain I own for 28 years. What I was talking about doing was a basic background, say $99.99, where you can go and get a background. Now all of a sudden someone gives you a phone number, you meet them online. We give them some basic things on different informations about him or her. I mean, for me, if I'm going to date someone, I certainly would spend at least $100 to know if they're real or not. And then the other side of the coin is you don't really know who you're dating unless you do a little bit of detective work yourself.
But
always remember one thing. I'll give you a little fast tip. If they don't give you their home telephone number, I know everyone has cells now, but the old tip used to be if they don't give you your home phone number, then they're cheating.
Well, the thing is, though, we don't even have home phones, as you were just saying. We have cell phones. So, we look at things like Instagram, Facebook. I feel like LinkedIn is a very good underrated one to see, where they work, things like that. But what are some insider tips you can offer us besides those basics if you weren't going to hire a PI and you were just going to do it on your own, what are some ideas that you have to
Well,
offer?
you got to be, you got to say, and you say, look, I've been burned a lot of times. I really like you. I like our conversation. I'm going to do a background on you. So if you have something to hide, bye-bye. And my Uncle Bo is a detective.
Yeah.
And I'm going to check your ass out. And if it comes back that you're bad, Uncle Bo will take care of you.
This
But
is
my
good.
point is, you got to let them know, you're not going to be taken over. You're going to look at them. And if you're offended by it, say la vie. Because if they
True.
have to hide something, you know what? A lot of them who are bad would run away because they don't want to have themselves looked at. And a lot of these guys who are online, and anyway, what do you think they're looking for? When you look at all these sites, they're looking for the one night stand. Guys that fist fight you for the mirror. Guys are in love with themselves more than women now, as far as I'm concerned. And that's basically, it's very hard for young ladies to find decent guys anymore because they don't want to settle down. I mean, they go on TikTok, and my daughter downloaded that. They go on TikTok and they look at these chicks, bouncing their boobs around and bouncing their butts around.
And they're like 15 years old.
I don't know how old. Maybe I'm committing child pornography. If they're 15, I shouldn't even be looking at them.
Right.
But the point is that, this is what you got to compete. You're a beautiful gal. And you know what the problem is? There's so many guys are out there that only want to play the field. They don't want to settle down.
So then how do you know what their intentions are?
Well, that's it. And well, part of it, like I said, if they're hiding something, you take your time with this thing. You take your time developing the relationship, and you get into their heads. See if you're dealing with a psychopath, not. And worst thing, if the guy's jealous in the
My
beginning,
grandma's hitting me under the table because she thinks I date psychopaths.
and listen, and the other thing is, if they're jealous, it's only going to get worse. That's a psychopathic valuation. They're very jealous. It ain't getting better.
You think jealousy is a big red flag?
Bad. A lot of cases that I'm investigating something right now with two 18-year-olds, very affluent people, and the guy beat the hell out of the girl for a year. She hid it from her parents, and she didn't tell them, but she was an abused person. You get in trouble, you call Uncle Bo.
Of course.
Bust them up, all right?
I think though, if I said to a guy, hey, by the way, I'm going to do a background check on you, they would say, well, you're the psycho one that you're looking into me. Like, that's not the most normal thing.
Here's how you do it. How old are you now? 20.
I'm 25.
25. You know what? I don't want you to be offended. I've dated guys before and all that, but I've made up my mind. I really don't want to get burned. I don't want to get involved because if I fall in love with you and then all of a sudden I find out that you're a nut, like a lot of guys that I've dated, what am I going to do? So let's do it right from the beginning.
I think, Bo, you know some of her dates.
if you have something to hide, bye-bye. If you want, I got my Uncle Bo, who's a detective. I'm not going to go too deep, but I'm going to find out if you're a good person. And if that offends you, then I don't think we want to continue this relationship.
I think
that's a good
That's
idea.
fair, no?
so fair. I just am scared now because I feel like maybe my dad hired you and you're a fly on the wall already because you seem to have so much insight on this.
First of all, if your dad did hire me,
He
I would
wouldn't
never
tell you.
I'm sworn under confidentiality.
We were talking about some red flags like jealousy. What are some other ones off the top of your head that you think might warrant some extra investigation, something that comes up and you're like, you know what, I do need to hire a private investigator because this seems off?
Well, one of the most important things too is this anger. If you see that you're dating somebody with this anger problem, that's what I come across most of all. These spoiled little brats that, like me, have given their kids everything. I'm sure you got everything too, and they don't know the value of responsibility, and even in relationships. No one ever said no. And that's the problem. And now you don't want to if you really truly want to meet someone that I think every woman wants to get married and have children and have a family.
Right.
So cut it in the beginning. Know the foundation of what you're dealing with. And also, you can also check out people to see if they are who they say they are. Some people bullshit you. And I go down to Miami and every one of them have a Ferrari or a Maserati and they're driving around. They rent it for the weekend.
Right.
And I pull up there. Hey, babe, I'm a big Bitcoin guy. Yeah, I got about 200 Bitcoins. I'm rich. A lot of those guys are fugazis too.
Right, exactly.
And then the next weekend they're like in some pickup truck and what happened to the Ferrari? Some other red flags I'm thinking of, like if someone does lie about where you are, like let's say they say, oh, I'm at the gym right now, but really you find out they were having a guy's night or a girl's night. Do you think
Yeah.
that's something that is off, or do you
Well,
think that's very common and not really?
I think the foundation of a relationship has to be set up right from the beginning. So when
Mhm.
you meet a guy, say, look, I don't mind. The most important thing to me is tell me the truth.
Mhm.
If you want to go out with your friends, you want to go out with the guys in the bar, have some beers, just tell me. And, be honest with me up front, and I'll be honest with you. And if the relationship doesn't work out, or if you don't care about me anymore, I want you to let me know. I don't want you to just drag me along for the game. And it ain't game. I'm seriously looking for a real loving relationship to live the rest of my life with.
Right. Good job, Bo.
And my grandma agrees with everything I think that you're saying, don't you?
Well,
Hold
I
on a
agree.
second. It's got a lot of facts to it. It's really a good analogy of relationship. And one thing is, where I came from originally was the police, where I was a homicide detective. I know people better than anybody.
Mhm.
I've been in the private investigating business over 36 years. I've handled every type of case. Sorry to say, I've had cases that didn't turn out that well for young gals. And it's all in the back of my head. So I like to let people listen to what we're saying, because I want to try to stop or have someone avoid having a really bad relationship.
Mhm.
Well, I heard something today. Just give me a heads up if this is true or not. If someone
Wait, where'd you hear this?
my hairdresser told me.
Okay, that's
This is reliable. He said, if you're cheating with somebody and you don't want to be found, you put your cell phone in a microwave and then no one can track you. Now that's a
She-
new thing.
That's
That
a
comes
new
from a
one.
hairdresser.
So
And
you
he's
put the
never wrong.
microwave on?
No,
cook it
you
like
don't
3
put the
minutes?
mic, but they say they can't track it through the door of the microwave.
You
I
mean
said,
because
It should
something with
be-
the rays?
I don't know, because there's
No,
something
we
with
do
the
know,
door.
Find My iPhone. We know
Right,
you can click on that and you could find out.
but
the
not in the
boyfriend where he
microwave.
is.
I'm telling you, but you gotta look
Okay,
into
so
this.
now if you go Find My iPhone and it doesn't work, what are you gonna do? Have a fight? Say, you had your friggin' phone in the microwave? What are you hiding?
You
You're
can't
right.
turn it on.
No, but they would know. Oh, for some reason it wasn't working. You
Yeah.
must have put it in the microwave.
Well,
Well, I
that's the
don't-
same thing as if you shut your phone off completely, now you're not tracking. Well,
Why was your
Tommy,
phone off?
why is your phone off? What are you hiding, Tommy?
All right, well, that was his suggestion. In case anybody out there wants to cheat, put your phone in the microwave. We
That's
haven't tried it
Hey,
yet.
Grandma,
Yeah.
that's your suggestion?
That's
Put
what
your
I
phone in. So if you're cheating on your man, you're gonna put your phone in the microwave?
Well, he doesn't look there, so it's perfect.
Never does the cooking. Bo, how do you feel about Find My Friends? Like, do you think that people should be following their boyfriend or girlfriend on it, or do you think it's too much?
My daughter Dana
Mhm.
just had a little baby
Oh,
girl
congrats.
on New Year's Eve. Mia follows me all the time. She goes, "What are you doing in Harlem? What are you doing here?" She follows me all over the place. But I used to follow her. She was going to the University of Tampa. And then I found out she was in Miami. And I said, Dana, what are you doing in Miami?
So it goes both
I was-
ways.
Yeah, well, it goes, but what my thing is more the safety fact, where she
Right.
actually ran, she was in Tampa, she ran out of gas on Alligator Alley one night.
Right, and that's not
And she
good.
called me up, Daddy. I said, now you're calling Daddy up.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing there?
So in that
Safety
case, the
factor,
tracking
too.
worked.
Well, it's good, and we're able to with the police, we're able to ping phones. So if a
Mhm.
call was made from your cell phone, we know what towers
Right, they
it
can
worked,
track
it
it.
came off, and all that. There's a lot of technology that the police can utilize with the proper warrants. I'm talking about criminal stuff.
Mhm.
So there is
Oh.
technology, but let's go back to softer things.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Dating.
say about dating, I'm not so sure you should be tracking your dates. If you're tracking them, then you don't feel
No,
that confident in the relationship anyway.
And then, Grandma, you're right on it. Then he's gonna say, honey, you're a psychopath.
Exactly,
Why are you following me around? I don't need this.
right,
That
exactly.
could be a double-edged sword. They can run away from that. Trust is something.
Right.
You know, I was a bit of a jealous guy when I was younger. Now you got to trust, and that's it. I mean, you got to have trust. If you don't have trust, the relationship ain't right. It ain't right. Yeah.
That's correct.
Moving on a little bit, you used to be a jealous guy. Now are you in a relationship? Are you single? What's your current status?
Well, now we get
Asking for
You're a little too young for me, young lady.
I think
No,
so.
yeah, I'm in a relationship. I was married once. I'm divorced. Margot, my partner there, she's very protective. She doesn't like to go and sit inside a restaurant. She sits outside.
That's what we
And
do.
we're trying to protect. And I do tell everyone. And I got the 2 Moderna shots. I tell everyone you always wear the mask anyway.
Right.
And dating, that's a tough one.
Right.
That's a
This
real
is tough
one.
now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
it's real.
trying to navigate. It's like you meet someone. Do you go in for a hug? Do you stay 6 feet apart? Can you kiss someone on the first date? Do you trust that? You know,
Well, even the first date or the second date or the third date, I like kissing. You like kissing. You know, at what point do you
You have to
say,
wait.
you know?
Wait for a couple of months during
No
COVID.
way.
No. Here's the
risk it.
thing. You go together and you get that PCR test together.
that's a
That's
cute
good.
date
Yeah.
idea, right?
That's a good date. I
Dinner
tell
and a
you what,
COVID
before-
test.
I love it. I think that's a great. Why don't we? You're here. This is your podcast. We'll say it to the dating couples: go on a date, do the PCR, the good one, and then have a dinner. PCR test. You can get it within 24 hours.
And are they free or are
Then you
they
can
like?
kiss. Then you make another date where you can kiss.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's
I
a great
actually like
idea.
that.
Grandma, give me some
Grandma,
questions.
ask a
Come on.
question.
Bo, you've answered all my questions. The one thing I worry about on those dating apps, that they can get away with not telling the whole truth. And I don't know how you check those out. You know, there are $1 million companies at this point, Bumble
no
and
criteria.
Hinge and Jew something and Catholic
It's not
something.
Jew
and
something.
There's a lot of people
not
looking
Jew
for dates.
No dating Jews or dating a farmer. You
Right.
can date a farmer if you want.
You can
You know,
date
but
anything. But how do you get to the truth? It's very scary for the young
you have to
people
do it
out
yourself. There's no criteria to be on these dating apps.
there. No.
You can put all the lies you want.
That's
That's a good
interesting.
point. But you want to know, I know Dilla, Barry. I was
Yeah.
trying to develop this investigation.com.
That would be terrific.
Would it be nice if all of a sudden you could click on something and do like a fast background?
be
on who you're
great.
talking to?
100%.
And then this, you can eliminate, a lot of them wouldn't be putting stuff in there that's not true.
Right.
And it's like
exactly.
at a click of a button versus I have fake accounts on Instagram under different names where I'm looking at guys and looking at their exes. And it's like a lot of time and effort and not great for your mental health versus just having someone else do it the right way.
Well, now you got these dating apps like Bumble and Bumble. Then you got Seeking an Arrangement. Young girls in their 20s want to get hooked up with an old guy to pay
Yeah.
Oh
them.
my God.
And
Yeah.
I mean, all it is really.
And not even to have sex. It's just like to keep them.
No, it's to have
well,
sex.
okay.
It's to have sex.
Okay.
Come on.
It's
Don't
always
be that
sex.
naive.
It's always sex.
Don't be that naive. What do you think a 50-year-old man's going to do with a 21-year-old? Have an intelligent conversation? It's all
Fair.
about sex.
Fair.
Come on. Seek an arrangement. You pay me, I do you. And
Right.
that's exactly what it's all about.
I heard somewhere once that someone just asked, like on Seeking Arrangements, they're just like, send me foot pictures and
What pictures?
pictures of your feet.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
you know
some
how
guys
that's-
are like,
Yeah,
crazy,
because
yeah.
like a foot fetish. And a girl's like, oh, I don't mind. Like if I get $1,000 for a foot picture, no skin off my back.
No, that's terrible. I think
well, you know, one of those, no one has asked me for pictures of my feet lately, but the
recently.
majority of Seeking Arrangements is exactly what it says. Seeking an arrangement. And the arrangement says, I give you money, you give me sex. And that's fact.
I think you're
And that's
missing out
why-
on a major source of income on this foot picture thing. You never just look into it. It could be a side career for you.
You want me to identify a person with their feet?
Oh, that's not a bad idea. But what I learned from this is that I should just hire you to look into all my future dates.
or do better
Yeah.
dating apps.
I'm there. But the thing is this, it really isn't that, you know, certain things you want to know about a person. One, you want to know, obviously, what kind of a background, if they have any kind of criminal background, to give you a picture of what they are and what they're all about. Number two is you can actually find out the value of what they're really worth. And we could do that without them knowing it too.
Mhm.
And it's not for you to go, ha, you're not worth what you said. But there's so many things you can find out. And believe me, if I was your age and I really wanted to get married, let's reverse it. If I'm a gal and I wanted to marry this nice guy that I think's my guy, I want to know about him because I don't want any kind of surprises in the future that pop up. It's worth spending. I tell that to business people. People are investing into different things. I said, why don't you do backgrounds on the people, the principals that you're going to go into business with? Let's check them out. You find out so much. For a couple of $1,000, you could probably avoid being burnt pretty bad in business also. So, knowledge is power.
Yes. I'm going to tell everyone, normalize hiring private investigators for your next date. It's not taboo, it's
a little bit. And you don't have to go crazy with a little bit. And then with the power of information, you can ask a question where you know the answer.
True.
And you can catch them in a lie.
I love
and
this
now, once
toxic
they
shit.
start lying, that's something I tell people all the time. You test your partner. Don't let them know you're testing, but ask a question where you know the answer and see what you get.
Okay, Bo. Thank you for joining us. Where can people follow you and listen to your podcast?
Well, my podcast is One Tough Podcast. It's on all the just One Tough Bo Dietl One Tough Podcast. And also, if anybody wants to reach out, it's a simple one, www.investigations.com. You can send, if you're interested, people can send an email to that, anything like that. And we have our major offices here in New York City. We have one in Miami Beach also. But basically, knowledge is power. We'll leave this podcast. Knowledge is power. And having that, you can make a lot of right decisions rather than going in the fog, not knowing what you're dealing with. For down the line, you develop a relationship, you fall in love with somebody, and you say to yourself, this guy is not what I thought he was, but now you love him. What do? You tell Grandma, Grandma, I know he's a piece of garbage, but I love, how many times I heard this? But I love him.
Right. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Save yourself the heartbreak. I get it.
We don't want you loving anybody. We want you to do a little bit background, right?
Thank you.
Thank
Bo.
you,
Thanks.
Uncle Bo, Grandma Gail. Thank you guys all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You know the drill. Subscribe on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us 5 stars on Apple. Leave us a review. We want to hear from you. And obviously follow us on Instagram at ExcuseMyGrandma. My personal Instagram is at Kim Murstein, KIMMURSTEIN. And write us some questions. We want to hear from you. ExcuseMyGrandma@gmail.com. All right. See you next week.